Hey guys, it's Legendary Narwhal back again. Today we are talking about elemental shamans. Okay, now this was one that I've been looking forward to doing and also been a little bit scared to do, mostly because it's the opinion of a lot of people, both those that play shamans and those that don't, that if you're an elemental shaman, you've basically been shafted by Blizzard so hard and so often that at this point you need to play to the highest skill level possible with really good gear just to be mediocre, just to be okay, just to do what everyone else is normally doing. You need to be both a better player and have better gear. That's a pretty common consensus among a lot of people. Hopefully that is not the case, and this will be competitive again. So, first, the abilities you get for being elemental. You get Lightning Bolt, you get Lava Burst, you get Earthquake, and you get Fulmination. So, Lightning Bolt, same as it's always been. Lava Burst, again, same as it's always been. If your Flame Shock is on the target, Lava Burst will always be a crit. Earthquake. So this is unchanged as well. You cause the earth to rumble, you deal damage every second for a certain amount of time, and there's a small chance to knock down people. So, you cast it, you forget about it. It does AoE damage, you can do other spells, it's great. When they originally released Earthquake, it was a channel. It's not anymore, and it hasn't been for some time, so that's good. Fulmination, we have this already as well. This is unchanged. Basically, if you're using your lightning shield, which you should be, if you're enhancement, and you should also, well, you shouldn't be using that. I was trying to get in, this is the Jade Temple, the first dungeon. You should be using this, not heroism. This, a flame tongue weapon, we'll get to that, but your lightning shield, your earth shock will consume them. So basically your lightning bolt will have the ability to charge this up from 3 all the way up to 9, and then you can use earth shock to do regular damage and to consume all of those charges as well. So talents, this is the shaman talent tree, so let's go through this together. Nature's Guardian, first row. I already have this. At the moment it's a resto talent, but it's unchanged. Stone Bulwark Totem. Now, totems are basically different on the whole. If you'll notice, I don't have a totem bar anywhere. That's because you don't really have that anymore. Most of your totems have cooldowns to them. Healing Stream is 30 seconds. There's a bunch of other totems. There's some new totems that we're going to go over. But totems are being changed, I'll put it that way. So I chose this Stone Bulwark Totem. Basically this is kind of like the Glyph that you can already get for, I believe it was your Stone Claw Totem. I'm trying to remember, I don't remember exactly which one it was, but there was a Glyph for an Earth Totem where it gave you a shield. This is basically that, except it's now its own totem. So you get a shield, and then you get a little bit of additional every 5 seconds for the remainder of the time. So that's pretty cool. Took it because that's a lot of damage absorption that can help out in a raiding environment. Astral Shift, you shift into the elemental planes, reducing damage taken, pretty standard. Next row, CC, summons a Windwalk Totem, which grants you immunity to movement and parrying effects. That's pretty cool. Earth Grab Totem. This is going to root everybody, and if they've already been rooted, they cannot be rooted again. Instead, they will just have a snare effect. Their movement speed will go down by 50%. Alright, Frozen Power. Already had that. Now your Frost Shock will root the target ice for 5 seconds. That's not new, but I chose to take that for now. Call of the Elements. Basically, it refreshes the cooldown on all your totems that is 5 minutes or shorter base. Now, that will affect your elemental totems, which is pretty awesome. It will also affect just about every new totem. Okay, just about. I haven't found a totem yet that has a cooldown over 5 minutes, so this should refresh all of your totems. Totemic Restoration, I believe this was a talent previously as well that it has stuck around. When a totem is replaced or destroyed before a natural occurrence, its cooldown is reduced up to a proportion of the lost duration. That's new. Before, I believe it would give you mana. Well, actually, no, that was a Totemic Recall, which I don't know if we still have or not. We'll go over that in a moment. So, Totemic Projection, this is pretty nice. It relocates your active totems to the specified location. That's something that we should have been able to do for a long time. It's about damn time that they've put this in the game. It doesn't cost anything, but you get to move them around. I guess this is cool if you don't want to recast your totems and things like that. Or, I guess for PvP purposes, if someone gets out of range of, say, your Searing Totem or your Snaring Totems, then you can plant them closer. So that might be cool. Now, this row, I'm an Elemental Shaman, and you'll notice I did not take Elemental Mastery. I'll explain why in just a moment. So right now, this is basically a personal bloodlust. You get a bunch of haste. Not bad. It's definitely not bad. Ancestral Swiftness is basically POM, except for Shamans and not for Mages. However, it does have a passive effect which is pretty nice. You get some bonus haste out of this just by taking it. And haste has always been a very strong talent for them. Echo of the Elements is next. I chose to take this, and you might be able to kind of tell why by reading this here. When one of your spells causes direct damage or healing, you have a chance to gain Echo of the Elements, duplicating the effect. So, this will help your healing, and this will also help your casting DPS. We're going to talk about the combination of this and Mastery later on. This row, all about healing. Healing Wave, Gritty Heal, Healing Surge, Lightning Bolt. So if you do anything to something within healing rain, then you spread out the healing. So that's pretty cool. I chose to take this. Whenever you deal direct damage or healing, then 40% of that is copied as healing to a nearby injured party or raid member. So that's cool. You can blow this, continue doing your DPS rotation, and you'll help out your raid. So that's pretty nice. Healing Tide Totem. It's a health version of Monotide, basically. Healing Tide pulses every second, healing them for stuff. Now, I will say one problem I have with this, I don't know if this is going to be worth the 3-minute cooldown when it doesn't even pulse every single second. It pulses just about every 2. And, I don't know. Yeah, it does heal a bunch of people for that amount, but that amount's not very high. Now, I'm comparing that to heals and etc. that I can cast myself. For something I don't need to cast, that's probably actually pretty decent. So, it probably won't end up being changed, but that was just my thought. Taking a minute to drink a little bit of sweet tea there. It is incredibly hot when you're living in a house on the 2nd story with no air conditioning. Incredibly hot. Anyway, Unleash Fury. This one is probably going to be a very good pick for a lot of people. It changes your Unleash Elements, which has a 15-second cooldown, so it's very low. You're going to use this a lot. So with Flame Tongue, which is what we would be using, it increases the enemy target's damage taken from Lightning Bolt and Lava Burst by 25%. Those are basically all you use anyway, and that's for 10 whole seconds. The cooldown on this is only 15, so the uptime on this is going to be huge. You're going to have it up a lot. Wind Fury, melee attacks have a chance to trigger Static Shock. Earth Living further increases the effectiveness of the next heal. Frost Brand, you slow their move speed for a little while. Rock Biter, Rock Bitter, whatever you'd like to call it, you take reduced damage. I'm not going to go over any of the others in detail because this is about Elemental Shamans, and we will be using Flame Tongue. Alright, Primal Elementalist. This is something that's going to need to be tested before I can really comment on it. Your Earth and Fire Elemental Totems basically get buffed. They do 50% more damage, they act as pets under your command, and they gain additional abilities. So you'll finally actually be able to tell them what to do for a change, instead of just letting them just lollygag off on their own goddamn whatever they feel like doing at the time. So you'll actually be able to tell them what to do, and they gain additional abilities. I think those additional abilities are really going to determine whether or not this is going to be useful. The 50% damage buff, so far compared to that, that pales in comparison. The uptime on this is going to be much greater, and the benefit from your two main nuking spells doing 25% more damage is going to be way more than that. Now, Elemental Blast. This is a casted move. It has a little cooldown, 12 seconds, it's not that bad, and it deals a bunch of damage, and it'll increase either your critical strike, haste, or mastery by 5% for 8 seconds. Now, I'll say right away I'm unaware of if this is specialization specific, like mastery for elementals, critical strike for enhancement, haste for resto, or any combination thereof, or if it is simply whichever one you have the most of. I'm unaware as of this time which of those two it'll be, and until we know for sure, I'm going to say that that's out as well. So it's my belief that Unleashed Fury is probably going to be a clear-cut choice for this row. Unless the abilities from these pets are really good, and when we finally know a little bit more about this ability, then we can actually make a call on it for sure. Glyphs. Not really going to go over glyphs a whole lot. As I've mentioned in other videos before, there are glyphs that aren't yet implemented, there are glyphs that seemingly don't really have effect anymore, so I don't want to waste a whole lot of time going over stuff that's probably going to change, basically, is what I'm saying here. A couple that we'll look at just to see which ones we might want to do is Glyph of Fire Elemental Totem. It reduces the cooldown and the duration by a certain amount. So this is going to let you use it more often. It's going to be a personal choice. It's not going to be up as long, but its cooldown will be faster. So that's going to be a personal pick. Unleashed Lightning, it takes slightly longer to cast, but you can do it while you move. This is in the game as of now, so I feel safe talking about it because it's probably going to stay in since it's in the game right now. I already have it glyphed, and if you notice, it's only a 1.86 second cast. That's incredibly fast, and I can do that while I move, so that's really, really good. Telluric Currents, it used to be a talent, now it is a glyph. So this is basically for resto. It's not really going to be for anyone else. It obviously cannot be for elemental because you don't want to reduce the damage of your main nuke, and enhancement has other stuff they're going to want to concern themselves with. Any other major ones? Flame Shock. This will increase the duration, but it also reduces the initial damage dealt. Up to you. It's your call. I'm taking it. Whether or not it will play well for you, that you're going to have to find that out for yourself. You're going to have to test it out. And Glyph Chain Lightning, just more AoE damage. Pretty standard. Alright. Let's dive into abilities. So, I've basically kind of whacked everything down on the bar, kind of like I usually do. Mostly what you're going to use. However, we'll go through this because this includes all the passive abilities you'll gain. So, totems. A few new totems. Capacitor Totem, you can read that on your own. It basically charges up and then stuns everyone. So it's a totem that can stun. Pretty cool. Storm Lash. This is going to be a major cooldown probably for raiding. You drop this down and then spells and attacks by all of your allies will trigger electricity. That's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. Very cool addition to totems. Call of Elements, that's my talent. Chain Lightning. Hurls Lightning Bolt, dealing damage, jumping to targets. It'll affect 5 total because I've glyphed it. It will not read that unless you glyph. Now, you do not have a cooldown on Chain Lightning because you're an Unleashed Shaman. It costs a lot of mana, but it's a very, very potent AoE. It's very powerful. Earthshock, you're going to weave this in based on Fulmination. We'll get to Fulmination when we come across the passive ability in here. We'll go into it in slightly more detail. Earthbind, Tremor, those are the same. Earth Elemental is the same. Stone Bulwark was the talent. We talked about that. Earthquake talked about. Fire Totems. Fire Elemental is the same. Magma is the same, and Searing Totem is the same. Searing Totem you're going to want to have down all the time, though. You're going to have this down a lot, especially in raiding or PvE environments where you're going to be in one place. Flame Shock, 100% uptime. You cannot let this fall off as an Elemental Shaman. You cannot do it. Not only is the damage really good, but Lava Burst critting when this is on, yeah, you need to have this on. You can't afford to let it fall off and have Lava Burst not crit. Lava Burst, you hurl a bunch of lava, and it will crit if Flame Shock is on. Again, you cannot let that fall off. Lightning Bolt, standard nuke. Lightning Shield. Okay, you're going to put this on, and then you're going to build up charges on it. I believe that's actually titled in a passive ability in here. I don't want to jump the gun. We'll get to that shortly. Thunderstorm, it knocks people back for PvP. However, it also energizes you with a little bit of mana. Alright, it's not a lot, but it's enough to give you time for a few more casts if you're really, really hurting. Unleash elements. So, without that talent, our normal Unleash, you can read at the bottom of this, is going to increase the damage of our next fire spell by 30%. Do not do this and then hit Flame Shock. Do not do it. It is a massive waste. Make sure you do this before a Lava Burst. Do it before a Lava Burst. You have to. Now, your magical damage done goes up by 7%. That's just for having this on your weapon. That's why we use this one all the time. Okay. Water Totem's Healing Stream. It has a cooldown. You can't have it up all the time. It's pretty decent, though. It's pretty decent. Not really caring about it since we're elemental. Wind Shear, Interrupt, Big Whoop. Okay, Burning Wrath, this is basically a buff. We're going to give this out to everyone around us, so we buff spell power. Echo of the Elements. Duplicates your spell. You have a chance to duplicate your spell's effects, meaning you duplicate the spell. Now, you combine that with this, your Mastery Elemental Overload, and that is amazing. That may well place us back in good damage. This gives me a chance to get Elemental Overload, which can cause them to duplicate at slightly reduced damage. That's fine. This one sounds like it's going to be full damage. I don't know if you have a chance to have this proc and Elemental Overload proc at the same time. That's going to have to be something that's going to need to be tested. I'm assuming you can, but you might not. So we're not going to get our hopes up too horribly high. Elemental Focus, you can get clear casting. Now, it'll increase the spell damage done by 10% when you do it. So not only does it cost less mana, okay, but you're also doing more damage. This is going to go off a lot. It's going to go off a lot. You can instantly see that you'll get this every time you finish a Lava Burst, because this is based on critical hits. If you land a crit with a non-periodic spell, you get this on your next 2 casts. So, I would say this is also going to help you out a lot as far as AoE goes. AoE rotation, you're going to want to throw down your Magma Totem, you're going to want to drop Earthquake, and then you're going to want to Flame Shock a mob. After that Flame Shock, you're going to follow it up with a Lava Burst. That's going to do a bunch of damage, and it's going to give you clear casting, enabling you to do 2 Chain Lightnings for bonus damage and greatly lowered mana cost. That's going to help you a lot. If you just walk up and start spamming Chain Lightning as your AoE rotation, it is not going to end well for you. I'll say that now. Elemental Fury increases spells crit bonus by 50%, increases damage of all of your main spells, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and that is amazing because it also reduces the cast time. And this is the thing that removes the cooldown from Chain Lightning. You get this by being elemental, basically. Same here. Now, increases your mana pool by 400%. I'm sure you may have noticed if you've looked every time I've done a video like this one, and my Mage one, and my Warlock one, that I have exactly 100,000 mana. Even over here says 100,000 mana. Now you're probably wondering, how on earth did you get that number so even? I didn't. At the moment on the beta, for some reason, I don't know why, you are not allowed to have more than 100,000 mana. You're not. So I don't know how large our mana pools are going to actually be. If this really means your mana pool by 400%, we're probably going to have a lot of mana. As of now, I cannot see the effect of this, obviously, because we aren't allowed to have more than 100k. Once we are, I'll let you know. Now, this grants hit rating equal to spirit gained from items or effects. But that was what elemental precision was before. The mana thing is new. The hit thing is not. That used to be a talent. We now have it. Now, I believe that to be not necessary, but we're gonna get there in just a moment, so bear with me. Increases the range. That was a talent already before. Now let's see. Here you go. I'm gonna skip ahead down to this. Spiritual Insight. Increases your mana pool by 400% and increases your chance to hit with Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst, and Flame Shock by 15%. Now, does that look familiar? Does that look familiar? I don't know which one of these we're supposed to have. I'm assuming that we definitely do not have both. Otherwise we would have 800% more mana and that would just be stupid. I'm guessing we have this one. So that's gonna be... If you had good spirit before, this is going to be a nerf, mostly because you're probably going to lose a little bit of hit, and this doesn't affect things like chain lightning. It only affects lightning bolt, lava burst, and flame shock. So if this is ours, it is going to be a little nerf. I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about, so don't worry about it too much. Rolling Thunder. This and Fulmination I'm going to talk about together. Rolling Thunder is the thing that allows your lightning shield to go above 3 charges. So whenever you deal damage with a lightning move, you have a chance to not only gain some mana, which is amazing, but you also generate an additional charge on your lightning shield. You can hold up to 9. The mana return off of this is going to be really, really good. Every time you use your main nuke spell, you have more than a 50-50 chance to gain 2% of your max mana back. That, combined with clear casting, really makes you very mana efficient. Shamans always have been. That's been their one strong suit, really, in my opinion, and will remain that in this expansion. So, Fulmination consumes the charges that are more than 3. Basically, when you have this, if you're raiding and you build up your charges, if you get around 7 or 8, you probably want to hit the button. Mostly because this involves using Earth Shock. Earth Shock and Flame Shock share a cooldown, and you need to keep Flame Shock up all of the time. So, you don't want to use this when you're about to need to refresh this, meaning that if you're at, say, 7 or 8, you're not yet at 9, you're not yet at maximum lightning shield charge, but if you're at 7 or 8 and you know that you're going to need to refresh this in, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 seconds, then use it now. Don't wait, because you're going to lose uptime on Flame Shock by holding off for a single charge more of damage from your lightning shield. In the long run, it's not going to be worth it, so don't do it. Lava Surge we get by default now. This is a set bonus, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on which set. I'm still wearing a lot of that. There it is. 4 set for this tier here is your Lava Surge talent also makes Lava Burst instant when it triggers. Well, that's being built in now. So you're getting the tier buff right here. A little more sweet tea. Okay. This is just my throat. Now, Ascendance. This is going to be so good. It's going to be so good. You're going to turn into a big ol' elemental, and you're going to be amazing. You're going to look at the bad guy and you're going to say, fuck you, no cooldown on Lava Burst. You're going to deal so much damage in this 15-second period, it won't even be funny. You use Flame Shock, you start spamming Lava Burst, it will crit every single time, and you have chances to get instant ones off Lava Surge, you have chances to get duplicates with Echo of Elements, and duplicates with your Mastery. This may be actually slightly overpowered, I don't know. It's not for very long, it's only 15 seconds. It doesn't say you can't still be CC'd, so you will be able to be CC'd in this. Again, this is an Elemental Shaman rambling, not Enhancement or Resto, so I'm not going to bother talking about those right now. You can see the text on them and kind of make the decisions for yourself. So, in PvE, this is going to buff our AoE, since it turns Chain Lightning into Lava Beam, and it will also give us more single target, by giving Lava Burst no cooldown, obviously. So, most of the things I've talked about were really PvE oriented, mostly because that's what I myself do. Now, PvP. Do I think Ellie Shamans are going to be good at it? Well, probably. I'm going to say probably because mainly of a single thing. Mainly of a single thing, and that's Glyph of Unleashed Lightning. The cast time increase is basically insignificant, and I think, as I mentioned in the Mage video when I talked about their level 90 talent Rune of Power, which involves standing in one location to receive the benefit of said rune, you don't want to stand still. In PvP, very rarely are you ever going to want to be standing still, and this will let us do a large amount of damage on the fly. We can even just continue to spam it, keep up Flame Shock, and then whenever we get the Lava Surge trigger from our passive, that'll make this instant, so we can just cast it on the move as well. It's only a 1.3 second cast, so you could stop and fire off one of these regardless. It wouldn't really make that big of a difference. So, do I think they'll be good in PvP? Yes. Their totems, they've got a lot of new totems to help them out. The capacitor totem that stuns people. They've got stone totems that give them bubbles and stuff. They're gonna be strong. They're gonna be strong. I don't know how they are in PvP now, honestly, because I don't do it. However, it looks like they're going to be pretty strong in Pandaria. Again, mostly because of Unleashed Lightning. If you can spam your main nuke spell... What? Okay. We'll go back in just a moment. I suppose I can take this opportunity to kind of show you what to expect. I have a Warlock. We already did a Demonology video there. I have a pre-made Monk, yes, and I will go over that stuff when I'm more comfortable with it. I think I commented in a previous video about this, but just so that it's in my voice as well, spoken words. I will be doing things like Monk, Paladin, that sort of thing, stuff like that, because I know Monk is what people really want to see. However, I've not done a lot of stuff on my Monk. I've spent most of my time tanking on my Warlock, actually. So I don't feel comfortable rambling about something that I know nothing about. So once I play him for a little bit, do some dungeons, solo for a while, stare at the abilities for an hour or so, then I'll share my thoughts. For now, though, you're going to have to wait. Paladins are in the same boat. I don't play a Paladin on live. I have no idea how to play a Paladin on any specialization at all, so that's going to take some time for me to learn and just look at. Warrior, we did arms. I will go over Fury as well at a later date. Doing our Shaman right now, or we were before this happened. Hunter, I'm going to get to. I just haven't had time to do it yet. And then Mage, we've basically already taken care of that as well. Now, I am playing through the starting zone to experience it. For me. I'll say there's already going to be a lot of playthroughs out there of the 1 through 10 zone. However, if that is something you'd like to see me do, then let me know in the comments below. If you would like to see me do a 1 through 10 playthrough of the Monk Starter area, I will do that. I will do every single quest, and I will share the 1 through 10 experience with you guys. If you have not already seen the 1 to 10, or if you just want to see it done by me and not by somebody else, then that's totally fine. That being said, we're gonna hop back into this for a moment. Get some more sweet tea while we load in here. Not 100% sure why it did that. I'll say again, it's always going to be in the description. Beta is beta. Things happen. My Warlock video ended up getting cut a few times because I ended up getting 132 errors. This time I didn't get any errors. It just decided to boot me from the server. So yeah, that's cool and all. That's cool. But anyway, we were just about done. We were all the way down here. We kind of finished talking about Ascendance. My other closing thoughts on PvP. Thunderstorm's going to be very potent. It's already used in places like Arathi Basin to knock people off edges for instant kills. The ability to interrupt positioning like that is going to be very strong. Frost Shock, it's a very small cooldown, only 6 seconds, and with the proper talent, this will root 4-5. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that this has a chance to break with damage, similar to things like Frost Nova. However, it does not say that in this tooltip. Now, again, that may be because at the moment, for some reason on the beta, and I've tried to change this and it's just reset it back again, it seems to mix up the tooltips, and I don't know why. On Lava Burst, you can clearly see it gives me the exact number, tells me everything I need to know, but if I look at Lightning Bolt, it just says, oh, it deals nature damage, and you should use this when they're far away, so you can do it a bunch of times as they run at you. Well, yeah, no shit. Of course that's how I'm going to utilize it. It's a range-casted ability. So, I've tried to change it back and forth. I don't know if anyone else is having this problem on the beta at the moment, but... And you can see here exact numbers on Chain Lightning, Earth Shock, nothing, Flame Shock, nothing. Frost Shock is okay. It tells me everything. So, this may be a simplified tooltip. I'm not sure. If it is not, and if this really is word for word what it is going to do exactly, then this is implying that it will root them in ice for 5 seconds unless they have an ability to break out. Now, diminishing returns is going to protect them from a lot of these successively, but 1 or 2 is going to pin them down in place for a very long time. This will pin them down for 5 seconds first cast. It's only a 6-second cooldown. You're going to be able to do this basically right after they manage to get out of it, and you're already going to have them rooted again. Now, after you do this 1 or 2 times, because of diminishing returns, as long as they affect this, you're not going to be able to just keep them in place permanently. You're not going to be able to do it. But you are going to lock them down very, very effectively. So that's going to make it much easier for you to keep your range from them in conjunction with your Glyph of Unleashed Lightning. Ghost Wolf always been extremely powerful for PvP. Shamans being able to just click a button and instantly gain more move speed, things like that. That's going to be really good. So I think LE Shamans are going to be good in PvP, mainly because of what I've stated here. Mainly because of Ghost Wolf, Glyph of Unleashed Lightning, mainly because of Thunderstorm, mainly because of Frozen Power if you take it. Others can do their own thing, but Frozen Power is going to be really, really strong. Now, The last thing is what I mentioned in the PvE, and it's kind of why I'm slightly afraid of a nerf to it: Ascendance. Now, I can easily see someone, maybe in an arena, going in as double elemental shamans in a 2v2, just walking into the arena, they see the opposing team, both of them blow Ascendance, hit Flame Shock, and just begin to spam Lava Burst with no cooldown. It doesn't really matter who they are unless they're a DK absorbing all magic, or if they're a pally going lol bubble just in your face. You're going to kill them, and you're going to kill them very, very quickly. When I attempted to run Temple of Jade Serpent, my lava bursts were critting for slightly over 40,000. Now, my gear's not all that great. My equipped item level for Elemental is 386. That's not super high. It's really not. And I'm aware of that. But with the stuff that I'm in, some of it's still Resto tier gear, I'm critting with Lava Burst for 40,000 or slightly more. If that got duplicated by Echo of Elements, if that also got copied by an Elemental Overload, that potential, there's a lot of RNG potential for huge, huge spike damage, as far as I'm aware. So this probably won't be nerfed. However, I will say, where is it? Echo of the Elements. This is probably going to change. That's going to be my guess. The abuse that might happen from just doubling this up with a lot of mastery, the abuse potential for this is very, very high. If you do Flame Shock once, and then you stack up on loads of mastery, and you do, say, 1, maybe 2 Lava Bursts, chances are those 1 or 2 is going to turn into, say, 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky. Gaining a bunch of just free damage flying at the target for no cost to you, that's kind of dangerous. You don't really want to give a class, any class in the game, not Shaman specifically, but you don't want to give any class in the game the ability to just proc loads of bonus damage on someone for no reason and for no resource. That potential for loads of extra RNG damage, that's going to cause a lot of people to rage, probably against Ellie Shamans. Now, if you use it for healing, cool. Whatever you use it for, even if you use it for Elemental, I'm definitely using it for Elemental, this is going to be a very potent spell. So, not going to ramble on any further than we already have. That has been Elemental Shamans. I don't really have a set schedule for a lot of these videos, a lot of these ramblings. I just really post WoW and LOL interchangeably to each other, really. Whatever I just happen to have rendered at the time, I just upload it. If you would like to see something in particular, a particular rambling done, or a particular League of Legends game done, if you'd like to see me play a particular champion, or, you know, do something on this is a WoW video. If you don't play League of Legends, then that comment obviously means nothing to you. So if you'd like to see something done on here, on the beta, then I can accommodate that for you guys. I play a lot of video games, so if you'd like to see something in particular, then I don't really have a schedule, so I can make it work. And you managed to see my character selection screen due to being kicked off the server, so you have some idea of what I have on here, so you can base suggestions and etc. off of that. Alright, this has been Legendary Narwhal with another long-winded rambling, this time on Elemental Shamans. I'll see you guys next time.